Hello, my name is Adrian Koss, and today I will be presenting Sund versus City of Wichita Falls, Texas. And this case was resolved in the year 2000. Case background. So in 1998, the Wichita Falls Public Library added two books that depicted same-sex parents. Book one was Heather Has Two Mommies, and book two was Daddy's Roommate. A local pastor, when he found out that these books were here, he actually took the books out, he checked them out at the library, and then he ended up burning them. Uh, and then he got fined a little over $50 and was told that, or rather, he told them that, I'll pay this fine, but you guys don't get these books for the library again. Him and his congregation claimed it was inappropriate for children, and then I think they did end up replacing these books in the library, and so this pastor ended up relentlessly pursuing the ban of these books to city council, and after some time they ended up passing Resolution 1699, otherwise known as the Altman Resolution. And this resolution essentially allowed 300 library card holders to petition for any children's book to be moved to the adult section. So, eventually they got these 300 signatures, and the books were eventually moved to the adult section. And following the completion of this petition, Robbie Sund, who is one of the librarians, along with other library patrons represented by the ACLU, they ended up suing the city, arguing that the city council's policy violated their First Amendment rights. Questions of legality. Did the city of Wichita Falls violate the First Amendment's free speech clause by restricting access to books based on their content? The second one is, did the city of Wichita give religious groups influence over government decisions, violating the establishment laws? And lastly, can a city legally delegate censorship power to private citizens through petitions in a public setting such as a library? Key earlier cases cited in argument and decision. The first one is West Virginia State Board of Education versus Barnett. So this is a pretty important case when it comes to the First Amendment rights. In this case, students refused to salute the flag based on their religious convictions. This matters in some because, the library policy allowed one group's moral beliefs to control what everyone else could access. So the decision was that the government cannot force citizens to conform to the majority's belief or values. The second one is Board of Education versus PICO. This one relates directly to our case. I believe Chief Judge Buchmeyer, if I'm saying that correctly, quoted this case directly. So in this case, a school board removed several library books because they actually disagreed with the ideas in them, which amounted to censorship, and it violated the students' First Amendment rights. And the solution was that, school officials cannot remove books simply because they dislike their content, which protects the First Amendment rights of the students. And this is important for our case because it relates directly back to library books and censoring of the content in them. The last case is Rosenberger versus Rector and Visitors of the University of Virginia, which was settled in 1995. So the problem here was that the University of Virginia denied funding to a student publication because, the student expressed a religious viewpoint, which was a form of discrimination to have denied the funding. And the solution was that, the government cannot discriminate based on viewpoint when managing public institutions. The decision, part one. So the U.S. District Court of Northern District of Texas. They ruled in favor of the plaintiffs. They ruled that the policy of the city council was unconstitutional. The chief judge stated that the city's Altman resolution violated the First Amendment by allowing private citizens to suppress access to a book based on personal or religious beliefs or objections. The court emphasized that a public library is a limited public forum and must remain open to all viewpoints. And the judge inevitably ordered that the books be returned back to the children's section. The decision continued, part 2. So, the court ruled that the policy violated the free speech clause because it allowed citizens to restrict access to books based on viewpoint and their religious objections. It also violated the establishment clause by letting religious objections influence government action. And lastly, the court held that the city cannot delegate censorship power to private citizens, making the entire policy, the Altman resolution, unconstitutional. Alright, so here are 3 cases that cited Sund versus City of Wichita Falls. The first one being Counts versus Cedarville School District. These kids, they were forced to get permission to read Harry Potter, and it was deemed that that was unconstitutional censorship of their First Amendment rights. The second one is ACLU of Florida versus Miami-Dade County School Board. This case referenced Sund while ruling that removing books based on community objections is viewpoint discrimination, so, community pressure should not have an impact on the censorship of your First Amendment. And the last one is PFLAG versus Camden R3 School District, 2012. This one used Sund as a precedent to strike down internet filters that blocked LGBTQ-related websites, finding it an unconstitutional suppression of viewpoints. In conclusion, Sund versus City of Wichita Falls reinforced the idea that public libraries must remain open spaces for access to all ideas without censorship of the First Amendment. This case protected the First Amendment by striking down a city policy that had allowed citizens to censor library books, which was unconstitutional. It also reinforced the separation of church and state, ensuring that religious beliefs cannot dictate government decisions. And it remains an important precedent against book bans and viewpoint discrimination in public spaces.